G'day gang. This is a Nissan Pulsar. It's a 2004 model, I think. Is that what it says? Yep, 2004 model N16 Pulsar. It came in. Issue was it was filling this bottle up with coolant, emptying the radiator into the header tank. It wouldn't draw it back. And there was milky stuff in there, and milky stuff in there. So a number of well, it was probably about 6 weeks ago, I pulled the cylinder head off this and got it pressure tested and crack tested and all the things you test. And inside here there's a couple of bungs, water bungs that go into the galleries. Now apparently one was weeping. Hang on, what about I'll just pull this valve cover off and we'll have a look in there, because that's got to come off for what I've got to do here. Okay, so the valve cover is off. Now, where I was going with my story is if you see down in there, that plug, that's you saw coolant welling up into there. Plus, before I pulled the head off it, I did see some coolant down in that, sitting on there, and everywhere else was milky, as you can see it here. Now, at the moment that's just engine oil, that's not coolant in there. It's just engine oil. So, also when I pulled the spark plugs out, you could see coolant pooled up inside the cylinders. So immediately my thought was, well, we've got ourselves a weeping or blown head gasket. These are a triple layer steel gasket. They don't have a fire ring, and it's not unusual for them just to weep between the layers of the gasket. So we got another cylinder head. That's this cylinder head that's on it now. We had that one completely serviced, and then I was sick about a month ago, as some of you already know, and so I didn't get the opportunity to put the cylinder head back on this. One of the other guys put it on there, and they tried to start it. They had the cam timing all arse up, so of course when I came back to work I retimed the camshafts and bam, away it goes. Now it starts without misfire. It doesn't show any, we put a TK head check on the radiator. It shows no exhaust in the cooling system. The coolant's disappearing out of the bottle, and then we of course see we were all milky here. What's the chances of it having another foul head gasket or having another dud head? Pretty minimum, I think. So what's our options here? Where are we getting coolant into the oiling system? And there's only a few places it can come from. One again is the head gasket. 2 is a crack in the cylinder head. 3, a crack in a bore. Well, we had the head off, so I checked the bore anyway, and all that's in good shape. And there's no coolant in the cylinders. It doesn't, so it's certainly not going in through the cylinders. And the only other option there is for where it might be coming from is going to be the timing case. Of course, the water pump is bolted to the timing case, and the timing case is bolted to the crankcase. If that gasket is weeping, or if that gasket is porous or partially corroded, because these do use a metal gaskets right the way through them, then I think that's probably the only place that it's going to be coming from, to lose all the coolant and get it into the sump. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the cylinder head on. Now the timing cover is sandwiched between the sump and the cylinder head, so I have to pull this cover off the front here, as there's some bolts go down through there to the cover. So I'll remove those, I'll remove this mount, the water pump, the drive belts and what have you, and probably pull the sump off it, and then attempt to pull the timing cover off and have a look and inspect that gasket in there, because this is doing exactly the same thing. So, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It's the first time I've come across one of these. I've done plenty of head gaskets on these things. That's nothing new. But this is the first time that I've had the issue where the head gasket hasn't fixed the problem. Plus, again, first time round we had monoxide in the radiator. We had coolant in all the cylinders, and that was its issue. So that was a pretty fair bet. But why it's decided that it wants to come through the timing cover, if that's the case, so there's nowhere else really for the coolant to mix. It's only, as I say, it's only going to mix either from the cracked head, from a warped head, a blown gasket, sleeve knackered. All the other waterways don't go into anything to do with oil. The only other thing that has got to do with oil, where water might mix, of course, is the timing cover. So I'll whip it down a little bit, and I'll bring you back when I've got some pieces ripped off her. So there's the front cover taken off. There's the bolts that I have to get. Those three there, and straight away I see there's one missing down there. Look, that's one he neglected to put in. But I think it's time I'll pull those bolts out, and we'll get underneath and we'll have a bit of a look under there. Okay, so you can see the oil filter up there. We'll just try and look you up there. I haven't got action cam going with me, but there's the oil filter, and if this had a cooler for the oil, it would be on an adapter block for that, where that filter is. But there's no oil cooler for it, so we eliminate that issue, and that's why I'm going straight now to the timing cover. This is up there, the front section. But anyway, we'll worry about that when I get to it. I'll rip a few more bits and pieces off, but let's get to have a look and see what this might be, this issue. Okay, so now I've taken the wheel off, and I've taken the inner mudguard off there. Here's my plan of attack. I'm going to pull the sump off. That'll require the exhaust to come off. So I'll pull the sump off, fill it full of coolant, and then pressurize it. And if it is coming out of the cover, we should see it running down. If it's coming out of the cover, we should see it running down from the inside of this, between the block and the cover. The cover's just there, the aluminium piece there. You can see that's at the bottom corner of the cover, timing cover. So we'll get the sump off and fill it full of water or whatever, and we'll pressurise him, and we'll just look for some drips of coolant. Nice. That's going to take a bit to drain out. We'll come back to that. Well, it's about as much as I can drain out of that without waiting on for hours and hours. So put the plug back in that. We'll pull his sump off it, and let's have a look, eh? Fingers crossed that is where it's coming from. Yeah. So if we look up inside the crankcase there, realistically, up in there, if this is leaking from that cover into the crankcase, it's going to be more than likely in that area there. So what I'm going to do is fill it up full of coolant, or water, sorry. We'll pressurise it, and we'll just look for any clean water coming out of this area here, making a mess. Nice. So we've got a bit of pressure on him. Let's just lift him up now and have a look. You see what I see? Yep. There she is, buddy. She's right up inside there somewhere. Gotta get my light. Hey, buddy. Okay, so it's coming from up in there somewhere. So, okay. I know what I've got to do now. I've got to take the cover off her. We know what we're doing. So there we go. First impressions, eh? Never mind. We've got it solved this time. Well, this thing's stubborn to come off, but I'll tell you what. If you look up in there, you see that gasket up in there. Knackered. See it there. Doesn't look like 120,000 kilometres, Ray, does it? With coolant. Yep.
This whole engine doesn't